Welcome back to the Worldbuilding Shrimp. Let's talk about the point of world building. My favorite kinds of videos are the ones exploring world building, exploring personal world building. I've been inspired so much by channels like Monster Garden, Rit Finch, Eternal Ruins, Lily's Illustration, and Nakari Spearding. They shared their creativity with the world, not in the form of tutorials, but in the form of their own personal projects. They're all so unique and beautiful, even when they're a little horrifying. These videos are what I desperately crave more of, so I wanted to join in. And if I can inspire someone else to make their own channel, that would be awesome. This isn't a competition between channels, but a collaborative space for all of us. Before I get any deeper, I want to explain the drawings going on in the background. I didn't know what to do for a speed paint for this topic, so I decided to dredge through my OC drawings and take the Procreate time lapses and edit them together. The majority of these drawings are of my favorite character, Doran. She's been around since 2016. But why, as a world builder, do I want to make videos? First, I really want my ideas to not be confined in my own head. I've struggled a lot over the years of feeling like the only way to share my world building, besides rambling to anyone who's remotely interested, was to write a book series, or 5, set in Alamein. I still have many storylines set in my world, but I no longer feel the pressure to write books the way that I did before. Publishing felt like the only way to get people to see my world, and I felt the pressure, almost the judgment from others, to turn my hobby into something that I could sell. Like it was only worth anything if it was proven with money. At first I liked the idea, and I dreamed about it, selling a book. It sounded so grand. But as the years went on, I stopped reading as much. I still wrote a lot during that time, but I couldn't find books that really captured my attention. Maybe 1 or 2 books a year if I was lucky. Still, I thought a book was the only possible direction I could go in creatively. The only product that would come out of my love of creating worlds. Over the last few years, I've realized a lot of things. And most important being, I don't want to write books anymore. I just want to create my world and write stories. I don't want the confines of a book structure. If my whole story can be explained in 2 pages, I'm more than happy with that. It's something refreshing to me to see an entire story right in front of me. To bypass the drama and confusion and anxiety and the time of reading an entire book that I might not even like. Often the books I do read, I know nearly everything about it before I read it, and I like it that way. And I know this is not the same for everyone. Most people would disagree with my take on this, and I absolutely understand that. People are different? What a fascinating concept. And speaking of different opinions, a lot of YouTube advice is to have snappy, catchy videos with quick editing and lots of things to catch a viewer's attention, and keep their attention. I personally don't prefer those types of videos. My videos are simple speed paints plus information where applicable. I want people to just be able to listen to it. I don't have loud music in my end card because I want people to be able to fall asleep to this. I want most of my effort to be in the script and the audio, not the visuals. And it's not that I don't care about the visuals. The speed paints are half of my battle. I'm just trying to balance it so that the visual people won't be bored and the auditory won't feel left out if they can't watch. Anyways, maybe one day I'll write my stories as books, but I no longer have to. I'm no longer desperate to prove myself as capable. In fact, I've written over 200,000 words of Zelda fanfiction, and I'd say at least half of it ended up being stories I'm still proud of. One of those books I noticed hit 300,000 reads. I know I'm capable, I just don't have the desire for it anymore. And that's okay. Even with something that is quote-unquote successful, it can be left behind if you no longer want to do it. You are not bound to it just because it's successful. It's scary to change your mind, to dust off your hands that you've had sunken in the project for so long. It feels like giving up instead of just continuing forward on another path. You're still moving forward, it's just not in the path that you thought you'd take. I resisted for months the idea that I wanted more to be a world builder than an author. Author was so deeply rooted in my identity that it felt wrong to turn away from it. Granted, I am still an author, just not actively. I was being dramatic when I made my oh-so-big decision to fully put my books on the back burner. They were already there anyways. I just gave myself the permission to no longer feel like a failure for not working on them anymore. I just wanted to work on my magic system, on my map, on my races, on my snails, on every little piece of my world that most writers would consider absolutely overkill when it comes to world building. Your worth as a creative or hobbyist does not come from how much you sell, or how much people pat you on the back for your work, but how much fulfillment and joy you get out of it. If you knit a pair of socks, are they worthless because you didn't sell them and instead put them on your own feet? If you bake cookies, are they meaningless because you ate the whole batch yourself? If you make a drawing, is it bad to be self-indulgent, to have only drawn it because you wanted to? It is not a crime for your creative motivation to be for yourself. The literal definition of hobby is an activity done regularly in one's leisure time for pleasure. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that being acknowledged for your work isn't a huge motivator, but it cannot be the only motivator. As I stare at my YouTube analytics, I'm not doing that well. I'm not doing terrible. I don't have 0 views, but I don't have that much. Whether or not people watch them, they exist. And I need that to be enough. Because I could go nowhere. And I need to be okay with that. And I think I am okay with that. But it is still really nice to be acknowledged. So anyway, that's the first purpose to making videos. 1, because I want to share it. And 2, it just needs to be tangible. Now, onto the second point of making these videos. Focus. I find it very hard to focus. I can't visualize. I can't sit there with my eyes closed and think about one thing. It ends up being fragmented, flitting from thing to thing, or just stuck on the same 5 words repeating again and again in my head, and it is very annoying. The best I can do is just sit there and come up with questions, but I can't answer them in my own head. I am on both sides of the ping pong table. I can only repeat the question over and over in my head as I try desperately to catch the bouncing ball that could possibly be my answer. I can sort of mitigate this by asking my questions out loud and then trying to discuss it with myself. An external conversation somehow holds my focus a little better than an internal one. Which I guess makes sense. But it's embarrassing to talk out loud to myself when I think someone might hear me, even when there's 0 people near me. I can best explore an idea when I'm writing it down. I can see the question with my eyes, write down possible answers that I can then compare to my question right there where I can see it and focus on it. It's tangible. But sometimes when I'm sitting in front of my computer or just with my phone, I can't even think of a question. I have a million little things in my head, but it's like trying to catch smoke. I want to, and yet I blink and I'm empty. What was I doing? Why did I care so much about this? It's too much. It's too hard. I'd rather just sleep. So I walk away. But just because I struggle with world building does not mean I dislike it during those times. It's not the world building that I dislike, it's my own brain. It's frustrating to struggle because I know I could do it if I could just focus or find a spark in that moment. It's hard to try when I know I'm probably going to fail. I'll write 1 paragraph if I'm lucky and get basically nowhere. But that's my process. There are good days and bad weeks. But I'll take it all because I love world building. I'm hoping that making content on my world building will help focus me, because listening to content like this already has. I also want to help others like me know that they're not alone, that they're not failures, that you can still do the thing even if you feel like you've lost. And it's helped me. From the moss mine to the snails in the Unger room, I've been focused. It hasn't been easy, and I still find myself staring at the screen. But it's helped me solidify my ideas. It's given me the motivation to focus even in the times when I can't. And I won't punish myself for trying and failing. Failing is a part of it that I just have to accept. It's given me a tangible goal that wasn't just keep working. Keep working on what? I can't work on the whole thing at once. I have to focus on something. I guess sharing it is a goal, but it's not a very clear goal with steps and achievements. I just want to share, the same way that channels I mentioned at the beginning have shared. I know I'm not alone in this. I enjoy others' worlds, and I know others will enjoy mine. I know not everyone will like my world building. Some may think it's too complicated, too rigid, too simple, too realistic, too unrealistic. But I like it, and I want to share it, and I know how much work it's going to be to keep it up. But it's my passion, it's my pleasure, it's my world I made. And I want to see it take shape in more than just my Notion pages. I want to spend the rest of my life working on this, piece by piece, and I'm okay with it never being finished. What would I even do if I finished it? Make another one? No, that's way too much work. This is my one world, and it has infinite potential. it will keep my brain busy for the rest of my life. And that is the beauty of it. If you have a project you're working on and feel like you're failing because you haven't finished it yet, ask yourself why you're doing it. For the joy or for the product? If it brings you happiness, nothing else has to come from it. Thank you for watching this fragmented and confusing video. See you next time.